problem, we live our life based on how we feel about things, right? So if you feel like buying a new dress, you'll go and buy a new dress. If you feel like having a glass of wine, you'll have a glass of wine. If you feel like going and spending some money or going to the cinema, you'll do that. But there are things in life that we need to do that we don't feel like doing and we don't necessarily want to do. So for example, maybe we should go to the gym. You don't feel like going to the gym, but you know it's going to be better for you. You have to pay your taxes. You don't want to pay your taxes. You don't feel like paying your taxes, but you know it's the right thing to do. Most animals, when they get an instinct about something, they'll react. So they'll either attack or they'll run away. And we have a similar reptilian brain that has that fight and flight. You've all heard of that. But what we do is we argue with ourselves. Oh no, you're just being silly. Oh, it's not that bad. Or we go the opposite. Yeah, you're just hopeless. You're no good. Nobody likes you anyway. Why should you bother? It's all too hard. Does that sound familiar? And we get ourselves in this spiral. But the problem is this spiral goes down and down and down. And by the time you're down here with a black bag over your head, you just can't see a way out. And if we learn, and I wish they would teach it in schools, I think some places are beginning to, but how do we deal with the unconscious mind that is used to habit, all the bad habits that we've had, all the habits that don't serve us, that you've had since you were about 5. I tell a story to clients there were 2 twin sisters. Later on in life, one of them's really successful. She's great with people. She does really well. The other one, she gets into trouble everywhere she goes. Nobody really gets on with her. Things are all a bit complicated. And she stumbles through life. And they don't understand why. They had the same parents, the same household, the same upbringing, same opportunities, same schooling, same everything. And this one girl, I actually coached one of them, and I said to her, and there was all this jealousy around the sister, and I said to her, when did you make a decision to be different from your sister? And she said, I didn't. And I said, you did. At some point, we've all made an unconscious decision at some point in our life where we've thought, well, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to be that person, or, well, you won't get me there, or, well, I'm going to be special, or without even thinking, and we make it, and then we hold on to it. And she said, I remember the day. And I was like, hey, magic. I said, oh, what was it? And she said, I remember we were in primary school, kindy, and we were all allowed to draw. And my sister's sitting at the desk drawing. And she said, and I had started to draw on the wall. And the teacher came up and grabbed the pen out of my hand, threw it to the side, grabbed my arm. Who do you think you are? Get in the naughty seat. Sit in the corner. We don't draw on the walls in here. Completely squashed this personality. She sat down. She looked up. The sister's drawing away, and the teacher smiles at the sister. And she said, at that point, I thought, I'm never letting anybody treat me like that again. So what did she do? Every time she came up against authority, she clashed. Every time somebody tried to tell her to do something a different way, nobody's ever telling me what to. Do you know when she realised where that had started and where it had come from? She started crying, actually. She said, I can't believe I've carried that all through my adulthood. She said, if jobs have clashed with bosses, relationships have clashed with partners. She said, I clashed with my kids, and she said it's because nobody was going to tell me what to do. And that's okay. And I said to her, that's fine. Nobody does need to tell you what to do, but you're not being good to yourself either. And then we worked through our way out of it. My point is that we all make a decision at some point in our lives. And then we deal with every issue that way. So that was her way of dealing with every issue. But it didn't help her back then, and it's not helping her now. She's in her 40s. So one of the things is looking at, how do I react to things all the time? And it's the hardest thing to do. The last session that we had, we talked about mirroring and reflecting, and like actually looking at a mirror to see your own behaviour. And it's not pleasant. when you're at home and you're shouting at your kids or you're screaming at yourself or I've done it. I've had sessions and I've gone back and I've gone, well, that was bloody rubbish. I didn't do very well there, or I lost people's attention, or I went off track, or blah, blah, blah. And then the women all come back and they'll go, oh, that was great. And I'm like, oh, really? We all do it.